Hi, mathematicians. Today is our very last lesson in chapter 11, lesson 11.11. And today we're going to take everything we've learned about fractions and equal parts to solve problems. Because the whole point of learning math is so that we can solve real life problems. So let's remember everything we learned about fractions and get started. So of course, as always, we'll start with a review. We know that we can draw to show equal parts of a whole two-dimensional shape. We draw lines inside of the shape and make sure that each part that we make is the same size and the same shape, or that it's equal. The parts have to be equal when we're dividing a whole 2D shapes. If the lines are not equal, they will not be the same shape and they will not be the same size. So when drawing lines to divide shapes into equal parts, make sure that you go back and check that the parts are the same size and the same shape, or that they are equal. That's the most important thing. We also know that the total number of parts inside of a whole shape tells us the name of the part. So if in this whole triangle there are 2 equal parts, then they are called halves. This is 1/2, this is another half. If in this whole rectangle there are 3 equal parts, 1, 2, 3, then we know that 3 equal parts are called thirds. This is a third, this is another third, and this is a third. If a shape like this circle is divided into 1, 2, 3, 4 equal parts, then it's called fourths. This is 1/4, this is a fourth, this is a fourth, and this is a fourth. So if we know the name of the parts, we can divide a whole shape into those parts. So let's use everything we've learned about fractions and equal parts to problem solve. So right now, I want you to go and grab a writing utensil and something to write on. It could be a piece of paper and a pencil. It could be a Ziploc communicator and an expo marker, or it could be a little mini chalkboard with some chalk. Whatever you'd like, press pause now, go get those things, and then press play when you're ready to get started. All right, friends, let's get started. Here's our first word problem. There are 2 sandwiches that are the same size. So boys and girls, right now I'm thinking about sandwiches. And when I think about sandwiches, I think about squares. So pause the video and think about what you should draw right now. It says there are 2 sandwiches. So draw what you think we should draw right away after reading that first sentence. Pause and draw now. All right, friends. So when I think of sandwiches, again, I think of squares. So I made 1 square, and then I made another square. Awesome. Because sandwiches are square, and there's 2 sandwiches here. Let's read the next sentence. It says, each sandwich. That's the same as every sandwich. So each sandwich is divided into fourths. But the sandwiches are cut differently. Okay, so that means that I have to come up with 2 different ways to cut this sandwich or divide this sandwich into fourths. Well, when I think about fourths, I think about what? Pause the video. What do you think about when you think fourths? Very good, friends. I think about 4 equal parts. So let's see, how can I divide the first square into 4 equal parts? Well, I could make a line side to side, and then I can make a line up and down. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 equal parts. What's another way I could divide a sandwich? Now I'm thinking about a real sandwich, and I'm thinking about how it would be really easy to eat the pieces of a sandwich, how it's cut. So it's easy to eat tiny little squares, and it's also easy to eat tiny little triangles. So what if I divided this sandwich into diagonal lines? Each of the 4 parts, 1, 2, 3, 4, are still the same size and the same shape. So These are the two ways that we could cut our sandwiches into fourths. Let's try another problem. Marquis has two square sheets of paper that are the same size. So this time, boys and girls, it tells us there's two square sheets of paper. So pause the video and go ahead and draw two squares. All right, friends, let's read the next sentence. He wants to cut each sheet, that means every sheet, into halves. What do you know about halves? How many equal parts are halves? Pause the video and go ahead and divide your sheets of paper into halves in two different ways. Because the question says, what are two different ways you can cut the sheets of paper? So go ahead, pause the video, and try this one on your own, and then we'll do it together. All right, friends, let's see what I did. I drew a square, and then I drew another square. The first one I divided in half by making a sideways line. The second one I divided in half by, again, making a diagonal. But you could have also made an up and down line here, right? Remember, there's lots of ways to divide wholes into parts. Let's try another one. Shanice has two pieces of cloth that are the same size. So now we're thinking about cloth, and when I think about cloth, I either think of a rectangle or I think of a square. I'm gonna go with a rectangle this time. And she has two pieces. So go ahead, pause the video, and draw two pieces of cloth, or two squares or rectangles, whatever you desire, on your papers. All right, friends, let's see how she divides them. It says she needs to divide each piece into thirds. Thirds. That means every piece is divided into thirds. And I know thirds has how many equal parts again? That's right, 3. Go ahead and show me two different ways that we can divide these pieces of cloth into thirds on your own paper. Press play when you're ready to check your answer. All right, friends, here's what I did. I drew one rectangle and I drew another rectangle because she has two pieces of cloths. Then the first one I divided in thirds with 3 equal parts by making sideways lines. And the second one, I made up and down lines. Both cloths show thirds. All right, let's try one last problem. Mr. Rivera has 2 small trays of pasta that are the same size. What are 2 different ways he can cut the pasta into fourths? All right, so when I think of 2 small trays of pasta, I don't think of circles. I think of either, again, squares or rectangles. So go ahead and draw your 2 small trays of pasta. And then show me how you would divide each tray into fourths. 2 different ways. Pause and then play when you're ready to check your answer. All right, here's my first tray. I made a rectangle. My second tray, also a rectangle, because it says that they're the same size. Both trays are the same size. Now, fourths. The first way, I'm going to make sideways lines to make fourths. The second way, I'm going to make up and down lines to make fourths. But there's also, you could also make a plus sign inside of the rectangle to make fourths. Remember, there are lots of different ways to show parts inside of a whole. So, your independent work today, friends, is to log on to Think Central and complete lesson 11.11, practice and homework assignments. All right, friends, use everything you learned about fractions to do a great job problem solving those word problems. Good luck. Bye, friends.